going on? Legion Nudu here playing more RuneScape Dragonwilds. Welcome to our Daily Gaming XP Grind, episode 52. And right now, we actually have started to build more bronze soldier mannequins. And the reason for this is ultimately that we've got a ridiculous amount of resources, and it just sort of makes sense to do this as a side project. So I am going to probably stop about here and delete these floorings and start to go backwards. I don't really think I'm going to make a lot of the other gear, but things I've got a lot of, I sort of just think it makes sense as something to do aside just from skilling. So we're not going to do it right now, but we've already got 10 whole sets of bronze plate, basically a full set of bronze that we're going to be adding, and this is going to allow us to make more mannequin bronze armors. So let's go ahead and do an XP update. So 277,000 attack XP, wood cutting sitting at 920,000, construction sitting at 2,006,000, rune crafting sitting at 504,000, magic sitting at 77,000, mining at 4,057,000, artisan at 4,052,000, and cooking at 197,000. So we have been working on cooking a little bit behind the scenes. We've got a couple of different things in here, and what I'm going to be focusing on today actually is cooking. Unfortunately, it's only unfortunate because ultimately I would like to sort of put time into other things into the game. Now we're going to get stuck here loading, but we've destroyed a bunch of trees, so hopefully that helps with our loading, and hopefully that can help us actually load into the game a little bit better. But we're going to see, because that's something that I don't really have that's proven, but ultimately I would really like it to help with that. I really don't see a place in the Storm-Touched Highlands that could be good for cooking essentials that really matches this place. I guess you could say the sheep and the ram, right? Making the meat. I suppose so, but you're going to have to navigate around a lot, whereas this spot, you basically just wander back and forth, and you're going to find all sorts of creatures here in this very small area that you can actually get lots of resources for cooking. So it's a little bit tricky because I feel like it's just easier. We're still stuck here. We can't even move. So if you're wondering why we're just sitting here, it's a little bit ridiculous, actually. But you can see the wolves have spawned in over here. And then when we first came in, we had some tear birds over there. There we go. There's one there. So I'm not sure if there's more. I just can't see them as they haven't loaded in. But we've got to keep going. And there we go. So we can load in. So we're going to go ahead and kill the wolves really quick. And that one missed because I thought I might be able to redirect the spell. But ultimately, we're just going to be collecting a little bit of cooking resources as I mean, that's the reason I didn't really want to fish construction as fast as I did, because I was trying to sort of keep what we're doing in the game a little bit fresh. That's also why I've decided I want to add more mannequins, because I think it's important to keep having goals. And our current goals, even though we're making progress on them, I still think that we could make more progress, as if sort of just doing things that sort of entertain us and keep the game interesting. I think one of the biggest mistakes that they actually made in the game was the world sort of feels empty. Even if you're going to play with other players, I think it still feels empty. I feel like there should be more creatures to kill. I think that's one of the big mistakes so far. So hopefully they listen to player feedback on Discord, and hopefully they start to make adjustments to the game, because ultimately there's just not enough different things in the game. I feel like there should be either more of the creatures in different areas that sort of spawn in, so we can continue to work on our attack and range and magic. I feel like we don't really have enough stuff to attack, and it can make it a little bit difficult because how far you have to run before finding more things to kill. But maybe not everyone agrees with me on this. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's heavily felt on my end, where I just wish there was a bigger variety. But it is just the first zones. But this 2026 is shaping up to be something incredible if you're looking at their future roadmap. So I think that those are all things to be excited about. So it looks like nothing's really spawned in here for us to kill. So it does take a little bit of time sometimes. So that could be the problem. But ultimately, maybe it's starting to be a time where we need to start looking for better places. I really just don't know any other places. I feel like we really have found the best place, really, where you can farm resources for cooking. If we were to sort of look at this. We've got all this rune essence here. That's going to be quite nice. We don't really have a potion with us, but we can still get it. But ultimately, I don't really know another area, because you think about that area, and other than getting hunted, which doesn't happen often, I feel like there's lots of variety there, which is going to give you an opportunity to get all the resources for cooking. And even here, you're going to have more powerful creatures sort of roaming. So it's important you know your surroundings as well, because you sort of end up in a position where you don't know what to expect. And then that can ultimately lead to just wasted time. But I guess sometimes you have to do that in order to find a better spot to do things in a game. So that little bit of time spent, I guess, overall would help you. But I guess it's really hard to say right now. But I know for a fact where I was actually a great place to sort of farm for cooking materials. And we're going to sort of explore this area a little bit. We don't really have any potions with us or anything like that, but we are going to work on woodcutting a little bit, I guess, while we're here. But you can see the shaman over there. And that's another problem, is you see the further you go out and you look for new places you want to explore and potentially find better places where you're going to get more resources for cooking or for whatever you're trying to do. I think it's important to sort of start to build a roadmap in your own head of where these places are that you can go safely. So that way you can reduce the risk of dangerous situations. And even sometimes, even though we've got better gear on and things like that, you've also got to keep in mind that sometimes you die in an area and all you have to do is grab your stuff. But sometimes the terrain or potentially the monsters that sort of go to that area, this has actually happened to me a few times. You put yourself in a position where you're like, all I've got to do is get back to my body, but you can't really get there because everything that sort of is working against you, whether it's the creatures that spawn there and things like that. So I think those are really important things to consider. I've gotten stuck in a few places in the storm-touched islands in the past, and it's incredibly frustrating because I couldn't get back to my stuff. It took so many tries, and all my stuff appears to just be breaking, so it's unfortunate. But obviously, we are working on woodcutting a little bit. I know we said we were going to be working on cooking. But I think it doesn't really matter really that much. I think ultimately I see some sheep over there and we can go kill them. So that's going to get... Oh, see, look at that. You've got 2 shaman and an ranger. So we don't even want to go to that area. That's just going to present danger to us. So I don't even think it's worth it to really explore that possibility. Because I don't see any world where it makes sense to put yourself in that sort of danger with 2 of them with staffs that are going to poison you. I guess you could have an anti-poison potion, but we're not here to get attack XP. We're not here to get magic XP. So ultimately, I don't think it's very wise. But we are going to continue to explore a little bit. We've already seen all these areas, but you can see here there's really not a lot of animals. So the place that I suggested that was, I believe, to be the best actually seems to be really good when you're looking at the alternatives. So that's why we spend so much time there, but there were no creatures spawning, and so I just sort of wanted to explore possibilities and to sort of see, even though I kind of already know, having put so much time into the game. I don't even think we really have a lot of lodestones in these areas, so that's going to make it a little bit tricky now because we've sort of wandered off so far. So maybe we can find ourselves a lodestone here and then use that. I think there might be one up here. Probably not. I guess I'm in a different place than I originally thought I was. Actually, we do have one up here, I believe, by this ore. So that's quite good. But there's some rune essence right there. Oh, we got some chompers. So this is going to be good because these guys are going to give us a little bit of cooking resources. But these guys are nasty, to be honest, with them exploding all over you. So that's actually not very nice. But let's go here. We got an onion. So in exploring, you're not necessarily... I felt like we were in the best place. Like, that's just trouble right there. You got some wolves, but it's ultimately not worth it. I don't really think I've got a lodestone this way, so it's going to make it tricky like I stated before. Now we've got to try to find one, and now we're navigating in basically the belly of the beast. So we're going to have to be careful, because if we die, we're not going to be able to get our stuff back either. It's going to be really tricky. Unless potentially we brought a lodestone with us to this area to just sort of create one, which actually might not be a bad idea, but that's not really what we're looking for. We were trying to come out here and find a better place to sort of work on different things, and so far this is definitely proving not to be one of them. And it's important to just check your surroundings, because ultimately, I mean, they could be lurking anywhere, these enemies. So it's important to just be a little bit careful. But I guess it all is working out. We're finding creatures to kill. We're getting resources that are going to be used in cooking. But after exploring all these different places, you sort of see how barren the land is. And when you do find stuff, it can be treacherous. This is all stuff we're going to have to cut down at some point. But for right now, we're just trying to get out of this alive and find our way back to a lodestone. So this is actually quite an adventure all in itself, episode like this. I don't really think we do episodes like this, where we sort of just get lost and then don't use the map to find a lodestone. So hopefully we can find one just by navigating around the game, so we can get the heck out of here. It looks familiar right here. I feel like I've got a lodestone over here, but it's really hard to tell because I'm simply looking at a bridge. Worst case scenario, we run into some creatures that we have to fight that we really don't want to fight. And that's like the worst out right here. So I believe we're in, oh my gosh, we just aggravated them. So I'm pretty sure if we run this way, we are going to be at a teleport stone, a lodestone. So we just got to run for our life and hope they don't catch up to us. But we're taking lots of damage. So the odds of us making it right now are not so great. But even if we do die, we will be in a position to basically just take a lodestone and come recover our body. But we don't want that, obviously. So hopefully they are not really following us anymore. Okay. So I do believe that, well, we don't have an anti-poison potion now, and we will get poisoned rather fast. But we do have a lodestone right there. So I think we might be able to make it. That actually gave us damage. So we're running out of time here. We've got to get out of here right now. And there we go. So we made it with 5 HP. But that was not fun. That was absolutely horrible. So not a good experience. And I think that just goes to show that ultimately, if you've got a good place you're going to do stuff, just keep doing it in that place. So you don't have to put yourself in a horrible situation like that. So I'm going to show you guys the mannequins that we've been working on. I think I already did actually, but we're already over here. So let's just show you again. But yes, we did show you now, I recall. But lots of work that we still want to do. And we don't really farm cooking resources in the beginner area over here anymore. And I think it's just because we realize that you get a lot more XP potentially from the things that you're going to be making from the second area. So we've got all that stuff. And I guess we're still going to work on some different things. We actually used the wrong teleport, but that's okay. We're going to kill all these guys. They're really not going to give that much XP, but now we're being attacked by a goblin. So maybe it didn't make sense to come over here. Maybe that was a mistake. Lots of flax here. We don't really need flax. I'm not even fully healed. That's another problem right now. So these guys are actually potentially dangerous to me. I don't know. But now I'm getting attacked from the other way too. So we're probably going to exit this area. We'll grab this cabbage. We're right here. But I don't know. I feel like the world feels empty. It's not my favorite thing. I feel like they have so much they can add to the game to sort of make it feel fuller. Maybe more creatures. Maybe they don't want that many creatures. Potentially load in. Maybe it's harder on the graphics. I really don't see that, but I'm sort of just reasoning with it in my head, trying to figure out potentially why they didn't add more creatures to the game, whether it be same or different variety, just in general. I feel like the higher level areas, well, obviously you've got to make it navigatable at the same time. So you can't just put this insane amount of creatures and then expect people to potentially progress through areas of the level. If it's too difficult, people won't be able to sort of get through that zone. So I guess it sort of makes sense, I suppose, why they might have done things that they did. I saw a rat over here. There he is. But I don't know. I mean, we've got loads of work to do in a game and just keep progressing towards where we want to be. And hopefully you guys are also progressing in a game. And whatever sort of goals you guys have got going on, hopefully you're working on them and hopefully you're completing them. I think that's one of the big things so far right now. I mean, this all started 6 hours after the game came out, right? And then I sort of just started playing the game a ridiculous amount of hours a day. And then I started building ridiculous things in the game, like the Titanic and the 8080 Walker, a pyramid, a roller coaster that goes through a pyramid, Zima's 99, what is it, the Batmobile, lots of different things, the Golden Gate Bridge, um, what's it, the Seattle, I can't think of what it's called, but it's it's just a disc. I can't think of it. It's like a saucer, but it's not a saucer. So ultimately, I don't know. But where we're headed is essentially going to be working towards max. And what does max mean to us? I think that's another important one, because I think people have different ideas of what max is. Because completionist, I believe, would be like max XP in every single skill, having all the quests done, and potentially having certain capes. But since I didn't take part in the pre-release, I'm not going to be able to have that cape. I believe I could go to another world and somebody could give it to me, but I don't really like doing things like that because I feel like I didn't actually take part in it. So why would I be trying to get a reward for something that I didn't actually do? I think it sort of just ruins the whole thing. So, but it seems like a lot of these rats respawned, so that's kind of good. It allowed me to get more resources, but ultimately, this is not going to be the best effective way to level up cooking. Um, I think I've sort of talked about it. I think the resources are still better in the level, what is it, the Fractured Plains, that one area I always use. That I believe is really just the best place to hang out. And I know it's repetitive and I know it's horrible, but welcome to RuneScape. I mean, that's sort of what it is. For the longest time, when people played the old versions of RuneScape, I think that's sort of just something you have to get used to. And there's a lot of other things you have to get used to. And once you move past it, you either love the game or you don't. So that's sort of just the way it is. But at least with RuneScape Dragonwilds, they're listening to the players and they're sort of trying to make the game more, I guess, in a shape or in a form that the people really want, which I really appreciate, because I think that's important that the people who play your game have some sort of input as to what you can do for the game to make it better. But I guess what I'd like to do right now is go make a few more mannequins, and then we're probably going to end the video for today. But I don't actually see, let's see, I don't actually see any coarse thread. So I think we're going to have to go make some, which really isn't a big deal because it's already nighttime. So we can just fast forward once it's started, and then we don't have to wait around for that. But let's go ahead and go to sleep. I don't really care about getting more artisan XP, so I'm not going to use an artisan potion, as I really don't think that's necessary. So let's go ahead and grab a little bit of wood and some rocks, because obviously we're going to need both to make more mannequins. So let's grab some if we can find some. One, that's not going to do much. This should put our weight over, unfortunately. Oh, we got lucky. We'll come back for the armor. But I think it's worth noting, I don't know, should I do another row or should I go backwards? It's hard to go back because I feel like there's already other kinds of armor. And if I sort of just change it now and make it go back and turn into something else, I don't really think that that would have a unique look. I think it would actually sort of ruin it. So I'm trying to make sure once you get the first one in, it's actually rather easy. You sort of just have to make sure that the feet line up and it looks pretty good. And then at that point, you just want to make sure you don't really move your mouse and you sort of walk along them and try to make them shoulder to shoulder. So that way they look nice when they're all presented together. So, I mean, we've got so much coarse coarse thread because we gathered all that flax. We don't really have the problems we used to as far as waiting to complete projects. So let's go grab the armor. I do actually believe I'm short 2 chest plates. So we're just going to need to grab a little bit more materials. I actually saw some coarse thread over there as well. I'm sorry, some coarse... Is that what it is? Yeah, coarse thread. I did say it right. Where is all my bars? Here they are. We just need to make 2 chest plates. And then we can go ahead and do all this armor. So there we are. let's go ahead and put all this stuff away, as we don't need any of it right now. We're going to go ahead and put this armor on, and then we're going to call it a day. But I think we got quite a bit done. Actually, before we even put the armor on, I think we're going to do an XP update. I think that's important. So we will actually do that. Inventory's full, but not weight capacity. Very interesting that you could hold all this armor, and it actually wouldn't affect your carry weight. It's a little bit interesting. So there we go. We got a full set. I mean, the reason we actually have so many materials to work with is because obviously we've got that massive amount of mining XP. I believe it's 4,050,000. So we worked really hard and to keep our materials and to collect. And I guess I wish there was more things you could do with the bronze bar. We already made a ton of arrows. I think we've got about 9, I want to say 30,000 or so. So I don't really think we got to worry about it, but we could also make other kinds of arrows. So we're not going to really have a hard time in the arrow area. So we're almost done here. And then once we do this, we're going to do an XP update. We didn't really do a ridiculous amount in this episode, but we did do some fighting. We got to repair our staff, things like that. But for the most part, we didn't do a lot. But I think it's still important to update at the end. So there you have it. We've got this massive army of bronze soldiers that we're building. I kind of wish they were down here with these, so it would just be one gigantic bronze armor mannequin army. It's crazy because I wish you could put shields on the actual I wish you could put shields on the mannequins, but maybe it would affect the overall look. So maybe I shouldn't ask for something and then not like it and then be kind of sad about it. So let's go ahead and fix all my armor really quick. It seems it's all sort of messed up. It's quite nice. Most of my stuff actually just requires that to fix, except my bow requires opals. But anyway, let's get into the XP update. We didn't really do anything in attack. Maybe a little bit. So 278,000. Woodcutting, we didn't even get anything. We didn't do a ton of woodcutting, but we did do some, and we just didn't even move. So construction, same, 2,006,000. Rune crafting, 504,000. Magic, 77,339. Mining, 4,057,000. Artisan, 4,053,000. And cooking, 197,000. So nothing seemed to have really moved. But we did make all these really cool mannequins. And until next time, guys, we appreciate you watching, and Legionuta out.